Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.
The nation must acquire land. Production of food, clothing, and shelter. Freedom is independent agriculture. Farming is the engine of the nation.
Greetings. This is Patrick Muhammad with Engine of the Nation, and welcome to NNV News. We're excited that you joined us today for our interview with Sister Vivian Muhammad. We're excited to have Sister Vivian with us today. As we prepare to bring on Sister Vivian, please enjoy our report from Sister Crystal X.
Greetings. This is Crystal X with the Engine of a Nation report on agriculture. Pharmacy in America is big business. The scientists of death are constantly working to abstract elements from food to expand a profit margin and to steer the masses away from self-healing.
Millions of our people go to the doctor writes a prescription, and then the person can't afford to fill that prescription. So that's pretty crazy because doctors are doing the diagnosis, telling the patients what they need. Patients can't afford to pay for the drugs because they're the highest prices in the world, in this country.
Studies have shown that the proper diet can keep one healthy and also heal you when you are sick. Most Black communities are suffering from food deserts or low-quality foods in nearby grocery stores. Vivian Muhammad had the right idea. She has set up a mobile pharmacy in her community. Here's more.
And you can see where we have the term mobile pharmacy, because this is really the type of pharmacy that we need in the Black community. We don't need more drugs, we need good food. And at Elephant Gardens, we're committed to that. And many other growers, urban growers, and Black urban growers specifically, are definitely committed to delivering to our communities more healthy, nutrient-dense produce to combat the health issues that plague us. And we can combat it with healthy diet.
In God's hand, Urban Farm is on a mission to provide educational services to the underserved communities of the Metro Los Angeles area in the instruction of sustainable living and organically raised food. When we were eating the right foods in the right way, we had no doctor bills and no medical bills. There were no medicines to be found in our medicine cabinet. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is Crystal X with the NNV News Engine of a Nation report.
And thank you, Sister Crystal, for the excellent report and very timely report it was. So today we do have our special guest. She's not a new person to NNV News Engine of the Nation, but she is one of our favorites. So welcome, Sister Vivian Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Nice to be here.
How are you doing?
I am well.
Good,
I'm ready to get in the ground. I miss having that Sunday.
Yes. Of course, I have been a fan and watching and studying from afar. So it's indeed a great honor to have you on your show with me today. So thank you for joining us.
Our show, yes, sir.
Yes. So for our viewing audience, they may have only just seen some of the snippets and some of the teasers. Tell us a little more about yourself and the Elephant Garden.
Well, the Elephant Gardens is comprises really 2 quarter-acre lots that are both located very near each other in the city of Indianapolis, Indiana. We called it the Elephant Garden because elephants are herbivores and elephants are extremely loyal to their community, and they are very protective of their youth, or their young. And so we thought that was a fitting name for an urban garden, and that's why we adopted it. It's also a low-key shout out to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, LF. For all those reasons and more, we decided to name it the Elephant Gardens. We service our community, and we are in the middle of what you have mentioned, Crystal mentioned, with food deserts. And the name is kind of a misnomer. There's food in our neighborhood. It's just not nutrient dense food. And some have called it food apartheid, which I like a little better because it explains more of the deliberate nature of the way our neighborhoods are built up and established, and the lack of nutrient dense healthy food is in my view not accidental. And so the Elephant Gardens is just one little beacon of hope in the community that we have established to help fight against the encroachment, if you will, of gas station and junk foods and fast foods that's plague our neighborhoods.
Absolutely. So being inside the city of Indianapolis, where did this love for farming, where did it come from? Is this in your background? Did you grow up on a farm? Did you eat your first, piece of lettuce and you just got the book? Like, how did you start it?
It's a good question. Well, from the time I was little, my dad always talked about living on a farm. And at one point in his life, he and my mother did move to Tuskegee, Alabama, and they did live on a farm, and they did have horses and et cetera. But honestly, beyond my father constantly talking about wanting to be on a farm, and my great-grandmother having a small garden in her backyard, and her neighbor farmed and grew grapes and things like that. But really, it wasn't until I entered the Nation of Islam that dormant desire kind of was awakened, and some fire was put on it, because I started eating differently myself. I became a vegetarian 20 plus years ago now, but and that change in my own diet just kind of evolved into a gradual understanding of the need to, and reading How to Eat to Live by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, book 1 and 2, put a fire in me, a desire to want to control my food and to help others have access to healthy, nutrient-dense produce.
Awesome. So after the desire, after the burning fire, joining the Nation, becoming a vegetarian, how did you get started where you are?
I tore up the backyard. I literally tore up my backyard, and that was in 2006. I was in the hair care business, actually, and when we sold our trademark, I think it was 2013, one of the first things we did was buy the lot that you're seeing pictures of now. It's a 1/4 acre lot on Sherman Drive, which is a very busy thoroughfare in Indianapolis. And we purchased that lot and just kind of expanded. And not even a year later, we purchased another lot that we found right around the corner. That's also a 1/4 acre. So that's kind of how we segued from the backyard into an actual plot of land in the city. And as far as my knowledge is concerned, to be honest, when I first started in 2006, we didn't know what we were doing. And each year, I listened to a lot of knowledgeable people that did know what they were doing. And little by little, through continuing to work it, we just learned more and more. Eventually, we transformed what used to be a dog run in our yard into a greenhouse. And so again, each year, I think I would say that we built upon the year before, the mistakes that we made. And I asked a lot of questions from a lot of people. I was blessed to have around me some people in the neighborhood, some real jewels. Shout out to Mr. Hendricks, a man named Melvin Hendricks. We used to go on walks, and we ran into him one day in his beautiful yard. And he just happened to be a wealth of knowledge, and that, and then listening to others. Dr. Ridgely, Sister Tawana Muhammad, who is a master gardener here. She's a sister at Ma 74, and others. I just have been blessed with a lot of people, and I've also had the sense to know how to ask questions. And I did a lot of reading. I took a lot of classes through Purdue's extension program. So I took a class in urban agriculture. I took some classes in farming finance. These were offered, by the way, through the Purdue extension program. So we have a pretty good, robust extension program here in Indianapolis, which always wasn't the case. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time to take advantage of that. And each year I've just keep learning, keep asking questions. And that's why I was mentioning to some of the people on your show that I really like people to walk away with the understanding that you can do this, because if I can do it, you can.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. With those successes that you've had, I'm sure there have been some challenges that you have obviously overcome.
Yes.
So as we think about that question, tell me typically, what do you grow annually at the farm?
Well, initially, speaking of successes and failures, we tried to grow a little bit of everything. You know, we even grew cotton. We just wanted to, you know, we just got excited. You know? So first, you know, there's this excitement and you want to grow everything. And then once we started really training in on trying to make a living doing this, and also being practical is about what we could do. And what what was smarter to grow on our 2 quarter-acre lots. We stopped growing things like watermelon and cantaloupe. We grow them as starter plants, which we sell, but we don't grow a lot of them ourselves because they take up a lot of space. And we want to be able to utilize the space that we do have in the most efficient way. So we do a lot of green beans. We grow a lot of okra, cucumbers. We grow a lot of tomatoes. We grow a variety of peppers. We grow spinach, and we grow garlic and onions and red potatoes. And goodness, what else do we grow? Oh, and squash and zucchini. So those are our staples that we grow. And cucumbers, if I didn't mention that already, and pumpkins. And the pumpkins, even though they take up a lot of space, we actually rotate them in every other year, because the space you have in organic gardening, no-till gardening, you need to rotate your crops to prevent disease. And so this year we're going to introduce, where we had lots of tomatoes, we're going to introduce some pumpkin plants back there, because we need to rotate the soil and put a different type of plant back there. But we also have partnered with a group in Lebanon, Indiana. It's St. Peter's Episcopal Church. And they invited us to grow out there, and they offered us a half an acre. And so I brought in some of the other urban growers, and we kind of split it. So we work at 1/8 of an acre there as well. And we also grow an enormous amount of herbs. Herbs, in fact, was where we started. And we dehydrate and package our herbs. So we have everything from basil to thyme and oregano, sage, parsley. You're looking at dill, which grows crazy. We didn't plant that dill right there.
It was a volunteer deal.
It was a volunteer deal. But that was given to me, that seed was given to me by Sister Tawana years ago. And it's heirloom dill seeds. So it just keeps producing. So it's been a blessing.
That's a perfect segue, Sister Vivian. I wanted to ask you this question. During this time, while people are trying to get into gardening, etc.
Mhm.
Where have you and what have been the struggles with finding seeds, saving seeds, and staying away from the GMO? Because right now, I'm sure you've seen some sites that you may go to. They're already telling you it's going to be a shortage this year. So, how do you do, and what recommendations do you give to our viewing audience?
Okay, thank you for asking that question. Yes, seeds are so important. And the more I have read up on, I thought I understood GMO until recently when I started digging a little deeper, excuse me, and realized that what I thought I knew, I didn't know the half of it. GMO is really something we should stay far away from. Controlling our seeds is important. So I have about 3 sources now. Number one, of course, I have my own source, meaning I harvest seeds every year from my own plants. So we grew broccoli. We let some of it, quote unquote, go to seed, and then we harvested those seeds. Same thing for all our herbs, and some like coriander, which is the seed for cilantro. Sometimes we just we'll harvest them. Some we just lay right back in the soil and they pop up the next year. Others we jar or and put in a cool, dark place. And then we get seeds through the Staple Goods Program, sponsored by the Nation of Islam. So I buy seed packets from them every year, and I'm never disappointed. So I get everything from green beans to squash to tomato. My homestead tomato seeds are from there. Watermelon seeds, just a lot of seeds. I can't even think of all of them, but a vast majority, navy bean seeds, I get from the Nation of Islam Staple Good Program, which is, I'm the coordinator for Indianapolis, so I always buy seeds. We sponsor that program twice a year, meaning that twice a year we do a big order. And so twice a year I buy seeds. And then the other avenue that I use are places like High Mowing, Botanical Interest, and these are heirloom organic seeds. I only buy organic or heirloom organic. I don't fool with anything else. And last but not least, but equally important, is that I used to buy starter plants. And I eased my way out of that, as I mentioned earlier, and into growing my own plants, starting my own seeds, and starting my own starter plants. And so that ended up being another way we produced income, is that we started a starter plant business. So we will start very soon, actually. I just turned the heat on in the greenhouse. We'll be starting the planting of our herbs and some of our vegetables, the cold weather crops right now, and then we'll segue into tomatoes and peppers and everything. So controlling everything from seed, soil. I know where I get my organic soil. I know my organic amendments. I use certain locals that I can trust. Every part you have to learn how to be in control of. That's my grandson right there.
Absolutely.
That was year one at our garden.
That was year one. Well, let's do this, because I want to hear about that help that you have and that grandson, and then I want to go into the soil. So we're going to take a quick commercial break from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Sister Vivian Muhammad.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Greetings. This is Tarika Shakir Muhammad with National Network View. This week's Final Call cover story headline says, "Farewell to a Giant of Africa." The passing of Jerry John Rawlings of Ghana not only marked the loss of a major political figure for the West African nation, but also marked the loss of an important leader in the struggle for progress for Africa and the Black world. May Allah be pleased with our brother. This week's Final Call issue number 18, center page article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is entitled, "The Principle and the Need for Justice." To read more, subscribe to finalcalldigital.com and tune in to Final Call Radio. This is Tarika Shakir Muhammad with the nnvnews.com Final Call cover story.
And welcome back. Welcome back to Engine of the Nation. I'm Brother Patrick Muhammad, and we have our special guest today, Sister Vivian Muhammad. And so, Sister Vivian, we just left a second ago. We were talking about a young man that was helping you, and then you began to talk about the importance of the soil. So if you can talk about your helper, and then talk a little bit about the importance of having your own soil.
Well, my helper was my grandson, and I have lots of voluntold, my sons, my daughter, but help, by the way, you mentioned challenges earlier. If there is any challenge, it's always you need more help, more labor, more people. I was blessed last year to have a few brothers from the FOI that volunteered. Were not for those 3 brothers, I probably wouldn't have been able to do the Lebanon project because it was 1/8 of an acre. It was just, we had 25 50-foot rows out there that we had to man on top of everything else. Their help was tremendous. That is one of the biggest challenges. And the other is soil. Soil is probably outside of your seeds and the most important aspect of gardening. We've done a lot each year, a lot of experiments, with soil, what amendments, soil amendments, different, that's our Denny lot right there. Different soil amendments that we've used. Last year, we experimented with azomite and biochar, different amendments that we add to our soil. We get our soil tested just about every year. We have a place here called A&L Labs. They're not here really, but in Indiana. They're in Fort Wayne. And they'll get results back to you within days. I do advise if you're digging or into new soil, for instance, if you're going to do a raised bed where you buy bag soil, you kind of know what you're getting by virtue of what's on the bag, or you hope you know what you're getting. Whereas if you're tilling for the first time, loosening, using new virgin soil, you might want to consider getting it tested for a number of reasons, not just to figure out if there's any toxins in it, specifically lead. In Indiana, there's a lot of lead in the soil, so they give free lead soil tests in Indianapolis. And of course, that was one of the first tests that we had to make sure that our soil did not contain lead. There's remediations that you can do if you have lead soil. Sunflowers, for instance, will draw the lead up out of the soil, but you'll have to, plant sunflowers for at least a year or 2 to get that out. But you also want to know what's in your soil so that you don't over fertilize. If you don't need phosphorus, then you don't want to add a bunch of phosphorus to your soil because it will be detrimental to your plants. Even though they need phosphorus, if you add too much, it's not going to be good. And so knowing what you do have in your soil is helpful, because last year we were going to amend our soil with one specific nutrient, alfalfa meal, and then we got our soil tested and found out that we had lots of no nitrogen or very little nitrogen, but a lot of P and a lot of K, a lot of phosphorus and potassium. And so the last thing we wanted to do was use alfalfa because it has a lot of the P and the K along with nitrogen. It's a slow release nitrogen, but there are other versions of nitrogen that we had to resort to. Plus our pH of our soil was 7.5. You really want your pH in the 6.8, 7, 7.1 area, depending on the plant. And so there are organic amendments you can add, like in this case, sulfur, to lower the pH of your soil. There are also things you can add if you want to raise the pH of your soil, but in our case, we wanted to lower the pH slightly, so we had to add sulfur, organic elemental sulfur to the soil. So you need to know what you're working with, and you don't want to go in blind. And soil testing is not hard. You go around and get a bunch of samples and put it in a bag, mix it well, scoop out a cup, and send it off to be tested. It's really that easy. So I highly advise soil testing.
Mhm. And it's extremely important because you want to know if you're going to eat what's coming from the earth, you want to know what's already in the earth
That's right.
because you could be contaminating yourself. So tell us, Sister Vivian, who is your target customer that you're growing for? And on the business end, for the farm to be profitable, how do you go about that? Is it the marketing? Is it growing for restaurants? Explain that part to us.
I'm still figuring that part out. There's not a big profit margin with growing organically. Where you tend to make your profit is either selling something that is a high demand and growing lots of that one item, like okra, green beans in our case, or by value added products. And that's where selling your herbs and your mixes, like we might grow cayenne, but we will dehydrate it and make cayenne pepper. Same thing for our garlic. We make garlic powder. And so your value added products tend to be where you can try to make your profit margin, and starter plants have helped us a great deal as far as the business. Our target audience, honestly, is our neighborhood. The house I'm in now, I was raised in. My mother and father bought this house back in 1970. And our gardens are literally very close to here, not even 5 minutes away. And so I service my community, which is predominantly Black, but there's a mix of everything, but predominantly Black. This is definitely an area that's considered to be a food desert. We don't have grocery stores within walking distance, and what grocery stores are in the area don't sell organic vegetables at all. And so what we do and where we do it is key. And so we're in our own neighborhood. We're in where we're raised. My mother's president of our, neighborhood association, because we are vested here. This is where we live. And so we service our community.
Mhm. If I always like to ask this question because we never know who's watching. So if we talk about what would be some of the immediate needs that will aid you and the garden to expand the reach of your work, and if someone had a blank checkbook, what would be some of those things those needs that you would ask for or wish for?
Oh, greenhouse. We poured the foundation for a large greenhouse on our property, on the Sherman property. So that greenhouse, that would be number one, because then we could churn out more plants, and I could also do more experiments. And then help, labor. It's always, more hands on deck. Those are the two things that we need more of. We need more growers too. I don't worry about running out of people to feed. We need more people growing food. And so to be able to train, we have a 4-H program called Tomorrowland's Children. We weren't able to do that program this past year because of COVID, but we hope to start that back up. But Tomorrowland's Children is a junior master gardener program, to which we have added an entrepreneurial aspect so that we can train the children in how to grow food, yes, but also how to make money growing food. And so to be able to do those types of projects and to service our community simultaneously, we need workers. We always need help. Somebody, if you just want to come by and weed. We had some beautiful help this past year. Shout out to Amber, shout out to Selena, shout out to so many people that, like I said, the Brother Greg, Brother T.I., the brothers of Ma 74 that helped us, and many, many others, Sister Lakaya, everybody that helped us, and of course my family, my daughters and my sons, but the labor and greenhouse, those are the main things that we need. And we need more land, frankly. We need more equipment for value-added products, so commercial kitchens, because we need to take everything to a different level. And when I say we, I'm not just speaking of the elephant gardens, but I'm speaking of our community. This is what we have to do in order to prepare ourselves for potential drought and potential famine. If we're to prepare for those things, we are going to have to not only grow the food, but figure out ways of preserving it for long term. That means not just canning, that means dehydration, which will give you a longer shelf life. And that means freeze drying, which will give you a 25-year shelf life. But freeze dryers are $5,000 pieces of equipment. So, anybody got to check? Freeze dryer, greenhouse, we need every aspect of it. We need more people. Last year I partnered with some sisters that I grew it and they canned it. Shout out to Sister Mary Muhammad for that, because if it wasn't for her and Sister Samantha, a lot of my tomatoes would have gone into the compost bin.
Right. Well, we know the power of social media. So if you're out there, you did hear a small list from Sister Vivian, and we can give a more extensive list when you contact us to say that you're going to make those donations for the land, the greenhouse, etc. We're going to come back in just a second, Sister Vivian, so you can share all of the contact information for the Elephant Gardens and how people can help right after this commercial break.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
National Network View was recently banned from the media platform YouTube.com. Within 12 hours, the NNV IT department quickly sprung into action with an independent service system to back nnvnews.com. The nation's news network is now streaming content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As we extend gratitude for the believers' financial support through donations, this media activism will not stop. Please continue to be a part of a force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Donate to NNV News. This is Clifton Muhammad with National Network View.
Welcome back to the Engine of the Nation report. We have Sister Vivian Muhammad with the Elephant Gardens with us. And Sister Vivian, how can our viewing audience get in contact with you and your representatives?
Well, you can visit our website, which is www.theelephantgardens.net. You can contact us by phone at 317-550-0125. You can hit us up on Facebook. Our Facebook page is The Elephant Gardens. And any of those ways, you can help us and reach us through any of those means.
And do you have
email? We do have an email address. It's egardens@gmail.com. That's egardens. Actually, it's egardens for us. It's egardens, the number 4, us, @gmail.com.
During this time, do you have any products? And if not, will you have products that are available for purchase?
Yes, we just got a pre-order form up on our website for starter plants. So if you'd like to pre-order starter plants, go to our website. There is a discount code you can use, which is HERBIZ21, HERBIZ21. And if you stick that in, you get a 10% discount off of any of your starter plants. And we do have wholesale prices for those that want to order wholesale. All of our plants are organic. We use only organic heirloom seeds, soil, every aspect. All of our amendments are OMRI listed, organic. We put in the best.
Awesome. And I always like to get this question from our guest. Where do you see your garden slash farm in the next 3 to 5 years?
Ooh, where do I see? I see we definitely have to scale up. And what we're doing now is just that. We have a health and beauty bodega that we are outfitting along with the farm stand that I think you saw in one of the videos, what we call our mobile pharmacy. Between the mobile pharmacy and the shed right behind it, which is our health and beauty bodega, we have to get out to our community. So we need to scale up. And so that's where I see us. I see us taking all of this operation and scaling it up, growing more produce and getting it out. One of the reasons we had the mobile pharmacy built was so that we could go to our senior living facilities because they are in desperate need of help. And we weren't able to go this year because of COVID and other things that slowed down the completion of the mobile pharmacy. But our goal is, God willing, this year to be able to take the mobile pharmacy to the senior living facilities and open up and let them shop right there where they live. And that's desperately needed in our community. So we see ourselves going from just these urban gardens into farmland somewhere else. And we need to establish a distribution network with other growers all over the city, all over the, really all over the country. Dr. Ridgely just mentioned the Cuban model, which he'll speak more of during Savior's Day. So I don't want to go into all of that, but we need to scale up and scale out. And the distribution aspect of this is extremely important, and we'll need more help and more expertise than I have to make that all possible.
Well, we know that inshallah it will be possible. Before we go, a little birdie mentioned something to me about at some time you rode horses. Tell our viewers a little bit about you and the horse world.
Well, it was a brief horse experience because I got pregnant not long after that. But my father purchased some quarter horses, and from a man here in Indianapolis named Mel Daniels. He and his wife had a quarter horse farm, and he barrel raced and was training me in barrel racing. On the quarter horses. So, and that lasted all the way up until the time that I was no longer able to do it. So that's my brief experience with horses in that sense. My dad also owned horses when he was in Tuskegee, Alabama, but I wasn't living down there, thank God, because I probably would have gotten in trouble.
Yes. Well, anytime you visit Atlanta, you have to come by Your Faith Farms.
Yes, sir.
And tune up one of our barrel racing horses. We have a couple of them here.
I would love to, but I'll have to be reacquainted all over again. That was 30 years ago.
Yes, yes, yeah. You never lose it. You got it.
Okay, if you say so.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Sister Vivian, is indeed a great honor. We are cheering for you and yours from here.
Thank you.
Have the love from NNV and the nation, and anything that we can do and be to support you in these efforts and make the realities of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to be able to feed our nation.
That's right.
And feed our people. That's our goal. So we thank you for all that you and yours will continue to do. And whoever you are out there that has that checkbook, please make sure you contact Sister Vivian at the Elephant Gardens. We thank you all for tuning in to NNV News for the Engine of the Nation report. Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. And we ask you to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel, NNV News. This is Patrick Muhammad signing off the Engine of the Nation report.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.
It's a truth universally acknowledged.
That doesn't make me racist.
For equal justice.
The decline.
Greetings, this is Clifton Muhammad with National Network View.